Hi guys, Adam here, and today we're going to do something a little different. I've been looking online and trolling Reddit forums and stuff for a little while now and noticed that people keep posting about the Emperor. So if you played Ark Raiders for a few hours, you might have seen something massive moving in the distance, mainly on the Bluegate map from my research. And it's not a queen or a matriarch. It's something much, much bigger. I looked online and players have been calling it the Emperor. But what actually is the Emperor? Is it a boss or potentially future content, or is it just background lore? Let's break down everything we actually know. My thoughts and what's just theory. So first things first, the Emperor actually isn't confirmed, at least not by name. The term Emperor is actually something that the community came up with, not the developers. So we can thank Reddit and YouTube for that. People started to use it to describe those giant Ark machines that you sometimes see on the horizon, on the Bluegate map specifically. But there has been more and more images cropping up on Reddit of the Ark machines showing up on other maps, such as Buried City 2. Now, the images I'm showing on screen I've pulled from Reddit and other forums on the internet, so these easily could have been faked by AI, but I highly doubt it. And as you can see by the images, these things are massive, like much bigger than anything we currently fight. They absolutely dwarf the Queen and the Matriarch. So the only thing we have to compare them to so far are the Queen and the Matriarch. But beyond the scale of those machines is still a bit of a mystery. I'd love to get a chance to see like a scale of the Queen and the Matriarch beside what we now know as the Emperor. I think this could inject some well-needed hype and anticipation in the community if this does end up being an update or future content, that would be a great way of keeping the community engaged in the lore side of things. So the Emperor is basically a placeholder name for something we don't fully understand yet. But let's put this into perspective. So the regular arcs, you deal with these every run, like your Hornets and your Wasps and stuff. But the Queen and Matriarchs, they're end game events that you would go into knowing that you're taking this stuff on. But the Emperor, this seems like a level above that. This seems like something you would need to take on with a lot more players than just 3 players and someone with a snap hook and some deadline minds. So if this is to become content that we can engage with in the future, the main theories that I'm seeing coming up online is that it could be like a raid. Whether that's similar to like a traditional World of Warcraft raid where you'd load in with, like 40 odd people and go in to take this thing on, or whether it would be a map condition, something like the Queen or the Matriarch that we have right now. That remains to be seen. Is this something that we're going to need to shoot down, like we do with the Queen or the Matriarch? Or is this something that the raid itself is the actual Emperor? For example, the entire map is the Emperor and we are inside of it and we have to navigate the ship. Perhaps to blow it up from the inside, or is the Emperor itself the map and we loot it whilst we're in there and then extract from the Emperor itself via, like a rocket ship or something. I know these are pretty wild theories. This is what we're here for, and this is what the internet's shooting at me. And to be honest, I'm here for all of them, but personally, I'd like to see the big raid boss, everyone teams up and takes this thing down. How that happens, whether we shoot it from afar and just blast it down, or whether we need to sort of snap hook onto it and get inside and blow it up from the inside, that's kind of irrelevant. I just really like the idea of a big bad that we all have to face. This thing's going to be so dangerous and deadly that there's not really going to be time for PvE, because if you're messing around with PvE, you're going to die. That's not me knocking on PvP here. I just think that the longevity in the future in this game is in the PvE aspects. PvP should always be there, and it should always be at the back of your mind, and I think that's what that makes this game special. However, I think if this game is to thrive and survive and not just become another extraction shooter in the sea of this game genre currently, it needs to lean into its strengths, which I believe is the PvE content. At the moment, there's obviously no confirmed way to fight the Emperor in-game, but interestingly the devs have actually acknowledged these massive machines. In interviews, they've hinted that these giant arcs exist in the world, but turning them into actual gameplay encounters is complicated. Mainly because of things like server limitations and player count and just how massively demanding these encounters would be, which is a bit of a shame, but you can understand from a technical standpoint how much of an undertaking something like this will be. Whether that means they need to push this back for a little while and release it as potentially a DLC in the future, I wouldn't mind paying extra, if I'm honest. For what we've paid for this game, I've already reached over 300 hours, and I know for a fact I'm going to put at least another 300 more in. So paying for a DLC that's going to be something of that scale, I have no issue with. Let me know in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on that. So we're not supposed to fight it yet. Whether that's due to the devs not being able to do this due to tech issues, or maybe they just don't know how to deliver this content yet, I'd like to think this is already something that they're working on behind the scenes, and that they're just keeping us in the dark. But it seems like this kind of event or update would be, like we mentioned before, such a huge undertaking to have so soon after the full release of the game, which was less than 6 months ago. I think if it was close to being ready, they potentially would have hinted at it more already around the release of the game, or when it was at its peak, maybe a month or two after the game. As I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, the game has started to slow down a little bit now. The PvE experience is challenging, but for most players, once you've been playing it for a few months, you can kill the Queen and the Matriarch, and you can deal with all the other standard Arc machines like Bastions and stuff pretty simply. And if PvP isn't your thing, you can understand why people are a little bit less enthusiastic about the game nowadays than a few months back. Reddit, while I was looking at information for this video, I've seen so many threads of people asking for another gaming experience that feels like Arc Raiders, but is solely PvE, as they just don't care for PvP, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of PvP Andys out there, and I do my fair share of PvP myself, and I think the true soul of the game, as I mentioned before, is the PvE future. In the world of Arc Raiders, these machines aren't just random enemies, they're part of a much bigger system. Humanity has been pushed underground while Arc machines control the surface, harvesting resources and adapting over time. So if you think about it, what if the Emperor isn't just another enemy? What if it's a command unit or a mobile factory that builds Arc machines? Or something that controls the other Arc, like imagine the Death Star. Some players even believe it could be like a leader type machine, something above the hierarchy of the Queen and the Matriarch. And honestly, that would explain the name. So if we look at everything we know, the most likely answer is the Emperor is real, but not fully implemented yet. It exists in the world, and we've seen it on Blue Gate and Buried City, and it's starting to show up on other maps. It's been seen, it's been hinted at, but it's probably been saved for something bigger. A future update, a new event, or maybe a completely new different type of gameplay, like a boss battle gameplay event that we haven't really seen to that level yet. Now, the Emperor is still a mystery. Part lore, part community theory, and part something we might eventually have to face. So then what happens? It's probably going to be one of the biggest moments in Arc Raiders, and the community will absolutely explode. Let me know what you lot think. Is the Emperor going to be a boss, a raid, or something completely different that we maybe haven't thought of yet? If you're still here, thanks for sticking around. I upload Arc Raiders content most days of the week, and I'm a small channel, so every like, comment and subscriber really does mean a lot. Take care and have a great day.